Hi, Danville. Alan Shilish here, Chief of Police, and we are 10-8 and in service. And we've got sound this time. This is great. So now I can take this out. So I appreciate the patience. I know we're running a little late, technical difficulties, but we are here. We're live, and we're here for you. The whole reason we put this on is we are wanting to show that we're here to make people's lives better, and we do that by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. Now, this is a live show, so if you have a question, you can throw it right in the chat. I'll try to answer it live on air. If I can't, I'll get to it after in the chat. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, so we appreciate all of you sticking with us. If you like the show, go ahead and hit the like button, maybe forward this to somebody and let them know. That way we keep this going with the viewership. We're going to cover the crime blotter. We're going to cover, I actually have a really cool video of someone breaking into an Audi here in town. And it kind of goes right with what we were talking about last week, where we were talking about how they will break into cars and steal the contents of the glove box and possibly look for that hidden key. And then I'll round it out with my update to the council. And sorry about this. First off, I want to let everybody know you can go and you can download the FEMA all hazards checklist. And on the all hazards checklist, that'll have information for those seldom events that can happen from time to time, but are very critical in nature and give you the tools that you need in order to manage those successfully. Also, you can go to the Contra Costa Sheriff's website. There's a link in the description for our wildfire preparedness and evacuation guide, as well as sign up for the community warning system alerts. CommunityCrimeMap.com is where we get all of our information, and we send it out to that website so you can see it. It's as transparent as we can be. The only thing that we don't actually put on there are sexual crimes and things of that nature that are restricted from release. So October 10th through 16, 2022, not horrible. We had 4 thefts and 1 vehicle theft, so we're a little bit lower than we were the week before, and we had one property crime. Okay. So on the 13th, we had a lady that was arrested for stealing cosmetics from a CVS on San Ramon Valley Boulevard. We had another theft from one of the stores this week. kind of along that same lines. And then we had a couple more shoplifts. We had one shoplift from the Bevmo on Diablo Road, and another one where someone took a bunch of merchandise from Costco. Half of it was recovered on scene. The person actually left some of their personal property, so we actually have some pretty good leads to follow up on that one. And then we had and I'll cover this one in the video, but we had a theft of items from the glove box of an Audi on Squirrel Ridge Way, and then a theft of a Ford F-150 that was parked in the driveway on Scotts Mill Road. So our collision, we did have on the 16th, we had one property damage collision into a parked car on the 300 block of Harts Avenue. In that particular case, the driver was arrested for DUI. Just so happened that our patrol officer was doing his rounds downtown and saw the car, and it was crashed into a parked car. So thankfully no injuries, but it did result in an arrest. Okay, so before we move on to the town council update, let me actually show this video. So this is a theft, and we covered this. We actually played a news release last week that showed how people were breaking into multiple Audis, and this is, I think it was in Florida or Texas or somewhere, but the crime trend is that they're going for the little key fob in there, and a lot of times they'll steal the owner's manual and things like that to see if they can't find those spare keys. So let's take a look at this video real quick. You can see the car comes up, makes a quick U-turn. Actually, I cut the video so you don't see them. They're actually waiting there for a while before they come back. The driver pulls up right in front of the white Audi across the street there. The passenger gets out, and you'll see him. He'll walk right up to the passenger side door, and he will punch the window, breaking it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see him reach inside, pull a lot of things out, and take those into the passenger seat of the car and flee. So you can see it doesn't take long for someone to break into the car, take some of the contents, and flee. And this was, these were, we always say, lock it, keep it out of sight, all that sort of thing. Well, these were the contents of the glove box. So you can't be more out of sight than in the glove box. So the owner actually did a good job. This is actually kudos to everyone involved, because the owner had nothing in plain sight. We had two different residents that had cameras that showed the street, so we got a very good description of the car. We're able to track that back on our cameras to get information on the car, and our detectives are working on that case, and we hope to hold those accountable. So I don't know what was in their head, so I can't predict what was going on there, but let's look at what they might be looking for here. And in this video, you'll see that there's a key in some Audis. It's not all Audis, but there's a key in some Audis that it's actually the shell of a key. It's not the key itself. And there's a spare key or an emergency key that it gets inserted into this key fob. And it looks a lot like the key fob that you would normally use to start your car. And some dealers don't take them out. They don't attach them to the keys. They actually leave them right in the owner's manual there. And so it's in the car. So everything someone needs to steal your car may very well be in your glove box if you're not vigilant. So this is a good reminder to check your glove box, make sure that you're not leaving these things inside, and make sure that that you're not the victim. So once that key is put together and it's got both of them, you can, a would-be thief or you can insert that and start your car, and off you go. So that is the warning, is just be aware that you should check your glove box, know what's in your car. Nowadays, I can't think of a car. I think one out of the last 10 that I can remember was stolen without the keys being in it in some way. Other than that, there's always been a key in the vehicle. So if we can kind of police those keys up and make sure that we're not leaving those keys in plain sight or in the vehicle, or on a hook right by the vehicle, then we're probably better off and less likely to be a victim. All right, so let's move on to the town council update. This is an update that I give quarterly. So every quarter I give an update, and then on the March quarterly update, it's actually an annual update. All of those updates can be found on the Chief's website. So you can go back 5 years and you can look at all the updates and all the annual updates that I have provided council. We give our crime stats and all those, the traffic stats, kind of a look into what the police department is doing to serve the community. All right. So on our third installment here, we cover some of the training. So if you look at this list, just take a deep look. You'll see some of the titles. It's firearms, it's use of force, emergency vehicle operations, patrol rifle, racial profiling, domestic violence, defensive tactics, crisis intervention training. What I want you to pay attention to, though, is when we look at things like firearms and use of force, it's not simply like how do you manipulate a firearm or how do you do a rear wrist lock or a twist lock or a certain move. It's really, a lot of it is the training on de-escalation. How do we avoid having to use those techniques? How can we, use better tactics so that we're de-escalating situations and not having to use the tools. When I go to the elementary schools and we always ask the kids, what are the three things that police officers are here to protect? It's lives, rights, and property. And then I always ask them, what do they think an officer's number one tool is? And they'll look and they'll say, oh, it's the handcuffs, it's the radio, it's your badge. They're always looking for, frankly, the easy thing, right? Something you can buy and put in play. And really what it boils down to is we tell them that it's the deputy or the officer's mind. It's their ability to think critically, to use tactics, to use training, to de-escalate and really work through problems. And that's why we spend so much time on training. And that training that I showed you and then that I showed council is simply the minimum training that our officers get. I did highlight one of our officers. She's an SRO, and she actually has gone through extensive training on site management, interviewing child victims, a lot of things. And so we have people here in town that have very specialized training that can do a couple of things. One, they can provide that service to all of you. And then also they can kind of do the train the trainer, like they can elevate everyone else's game here at the police department. All right. So we've all heard about supply chains and all that. And there's, the police department is not immune to that. We put in an order for Ford police interceptor vehicles in July of 2021. They still haven't come in yet. And so we've got an aging fleet, and in an effort to make sure that we had usable patrol vehicles, we actually purchased 2 more of these Chevy Tahoes. And that's going to be in addition to the one we already have. We have one as a command vehicle. And what you're going to see in the public is you're going to see a couple of more of those floating around. And those will go to replace some of the older Chevy patrol cars and the older Ford Police Interceptor SUVs that we have. So you are going to see a little bit of a diverse fleet out there, but that is why. I also talked about outreach to the council. In the outreach, we have a lot of different things that we do. In this last quarter, specifically, though, we did our Youth Citizens Academy. We started our fall semester, which actually ends tonight, of our Citizens Academy for the adults. And then we had some outreach, and this is an interesting picture. This is our current mayor, Mayor Arnrich. This is our county supervisor, Candace Anderson, and members of the community. And this was on our National Night Out. So National Night Out, if you remember, and I think we did 18 or 19 communities. That's where you all come together and have a party, a meeting, a picnic, a barbecue, maybe throw some jumpy houses out, whatever it is. And you invite us out, and then we come out, and Fire was out there as well. And CHP, your California Highway Patrol officers, they made it to some of the events. But what was interesting about this picture with the mayor is in this picture, you have people who have been residents of Danville for 30 and 40 years. And then the couple on the right, I think they were something like 6 weeks. And that is the great thing about Danville is you get people that have lived here forever, just moved here, but they all come with the same values. They all want good schools for their kids, and they want a safe community to raise their kids and their families in. So just an excellent picture of a community coming together. The lower right picture, that is our Youth Citizens Academy. That's where we give an age-appropriate introduction to what the police department does to serve them. And the critical part about that is, what your law enforcement officers do is we try to serve the community in the way that they want to be served. And so that means that we have a lot of responsibility to go out to the community through Coffee with the Cops, through our Citizens Academy, through our Youth Citizens Academy, and reach as many people as we can. And at the end of these events, we always ask the question, what is it that we can do to better serve the community? And if we were ignoring our youth, then we're probably not providing good service to them. So that is what we do. We like to say that they are education events, but they're a mini focus group for us to be able to reach out to uh, our community. All right. So some of the other events that we attended on the special event side, and I want to put them up, and I want you to look because this is what you typically see. So if you're attending the 4th of July event, you're going to see some of our volunteers, our professional staff, our sworn police officers, and they're going to be out there, and you're going to see them on traffic control posts. They're going to be on support missions, and they're going to be on foot patrol. And in Hot Summer Nights Car Show, kind of a lot of the same, a lot of foot patrols, some traffic patrols. And you look, the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony, we actually go there to honor and remember the resiliency of America. And Devil Mountain Run, it's a lot of traffic control and all that. But what I want to point out is these are fun events. These are good events that we go to. But what you don't see is all of the planning that goes in on our side. So whenever we have these events, we will contact regional partners and see if there's any specific threats or any generalized threats that we need to maybe staff up for. We'll reach out to other local law enforcement if the event is large enough to see if they can assist with the event, maybe even standby. So there's a lot of stuff that you may not see. And then we actually have people that are what we call react teams, and they will be positioned in a way that should something very bad happen, they're absolutely ready to respond and react to those sort of threats to mitigate any harm. So there's a lot that goes on. I know that you see a lot, and then there's some that you may not see behind the scenes that we're working to take care of. All right, I'm going to check the chat for questions here. This is a live show, so if you have the questions, go ahead and put it in. So Darcy says F-150 are a popular one to steal. So yes, but I think even more popular is actually the F-250, the work truck. And I don't know what it is about them, but we see a lot of those being stolen, especially if they've got equipment boxes on them, because they know they can steal the truck, take it somewhere, strip it out of all the tools, sell all the tools, and make some money. All right, looking through here. So Lou says the new cycle officers are in service. Thanks. So Lou's talking about our motor officers. You're going to start seeing them around town a lot more. They just finished their emergency vehicle operations training on the motorcycle, so they are out and about, and they're spreading goodwill. Maybe I don't. Maybe not. But they have a very singular focus, and that is to work to reduce collisions in town, and that's it. I feel compelled every time we talk about our traffic program. The question always comes up that hey, they're just out there to generate revenue, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I think back in 2011, when we checked the numbers, the revenue that we got from traffic citations was only about 1% to 2% of the budget. It's actually below 1% now, and that program costs us about 11 to 12% of the budget. So it is specifically funded to reduce accidents, not to generate revenue. And how we determine where we write those citations or where we do traffic enforcement and give warnings and whatnot is typically two ways. One, it's going to be traffic collision data. So where are these collisions occurring? What are they occurring for? So downtown, Camino Task Corridor, those are the areas that we work quite a bit. And then also, frankly, it's your complaints. So when you call in or you type on this chat, in fact, I think last week, I had several people type in, hey, speeding on Camino Task at Rasani, speeding at this location. I just clipped each one of those and I sent it to everyone on our traffic team. And I said, up your enforcement in those areas, because it would be ignorant for us not to take the predictive indicator of you all saying, hey, we see something over here that we think is hazardous. We need you to address it. So keep those tips coming in. It does mean something to us, and we do pay attention and we do act on that. All right, seeing if I can find Sydney. Hello. Oh, Lou, big shout out to the volunteers. They are terrific. So that's a good point. So Lou, on those special events, I don't know that they happen in the town of Danville if we don't have volunteers. 4th of July is a good example. Our total staffing is somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 for that event. And I would say 40 to 50 40 to 50 positions are volunteer, because that includes our sheriff's office search and rescue team, our saves volunteers, those are the ones that you see in the white shirts, and our reserve police officers. So those are officers that are indistinguishable from a full-time sworn officer. They go out, they have the same police officer powers. They just do it for free, just because they love serving their community. So absolutely right, Lou. Big shout out. Oh, Jonas, good seeing you. Appreciate the compliment too. Okay, so Daryl Santos says, what is being done to better protect our children at school? So, Daryl, this is something that we've worked on a lot. We have good relationships with the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, with St. Isidore's, and San Ramon Valley Christian Academy. So we work with all of our school partners. And what we do is we like to say that we offer a menu of options. First off, we make sure that we're trained and ready to respond to various events should they occur at the school. So that is something that we take very serious. We actually hold a large annual training event in August of each year that kind of kicks off our training, and we go to the different schools to do that, and we invite district staff, school staff, if they want to come and observe, if they want to come and be volunteers at it, they're more than welcome to see what it looks like and how we train to. And the objectives are stop the killing, stop the dying, and then clear. And stop the killing means make sure that the person isn't continuing harm. Stop the dying is making sure that anyone that is harmed, that we're getting immediate medical help to. And I'll tell you this, if you talk about the San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District, they are the elite professionals in this field. They have forward demonstrated a level of courage that you all as community members should be very proud of. Not playing too much inside baseball or politics here, but they are very assertive and aggressive in making sure that they're prepared to go into some pretty dangerous zones should they need to. So from a training standpoint, we're making sure that we're prepared. On the relationship side, though, we will go out anytime and we will provide some training that will support the policies of the various schools. So if they want some active threat training, we're more than happy to do that. I talked about one of our school resource officers attending specialized training. Well, one of the things that she attended was actually a class that teaches her how to do vulnerability assessments for physical locations. And so what she can do upon request is she can go through, and it takes a little bit of time, she can go through a site and actually provide them feedback on what they can do to harden their sites. And we kind of have to remember, a lot of these schools may have been built in the 50s, 60s, maybe updated in the 70s and 80s, 2000s, 2010s. So they're starting from a foundation of design from 50 years ago, some of them. And so how do we improve today, and what improvements can we make? And I'll provide this general feedback. Your administrators at the various schools and the district are very aggressive at working towards solutions. There are solutions in play. They are working to continuously improve their sites. And so I think they're doing a very good job. Also, upon request, we will review anyone's threat assessment plan. So we do work on those. So Daryl, great question, and maybe it's actually a good topic for a whole nother segment on 10.8. Marty says, where are the catalytic converters being sold, and what is being done to help monitor the seller and the buyer? So they're being sold at various scrap yards. Some of them may be making it direct onto ships and going overseas. But the governor did sign into legislation stronger penalties for illegally trading, selling, buying catalytic converters. So there are legislative steps that are being taken that will help support us. Right now, we prosecute them as simple thefts. So with new legislation, we hope that we will see more progress. Daryl, ask your school principal to see their site safety plan. They will give it to you. Give them feedback and ask questions of the site safety board if the school board has one. It's optional by school. So Eric, very good advice to Daryl, and that was tying into the school site safety plan. Helena Cox, would it be possible to extend that to daycares, preschools, and Danville's? So let me say this, Helena. We don't limit who we talk to. Think of it as this is a weird analogy, but think of it as a barbecue. If you invite me to a barbecue, I'm going to come. So if you invite me to a daycare, a preschool, a business, I've gone to living rooms with 6 people, and I've gone to um, HOAs with 400 people. So there isn't a limit on who we will go and provide crime safety tips. So if you or someone you know is interested, Lindsay Ortiz is our community outreach member. She's our community resource officer, but she will schedule it. She will get the appropriate person. It may be me, it may be Lindsay, it may be one of our traffic officers. Maybe you have an interest in having an event on traffic safety. So maybe we send one of our motors out there. So we are more than happy to come out on request and provide training on a variety of topics. And we can do those site assessments. All of that can be done. So Helena, that is a great, great opportunity. All right. Okay. Helena says she's going to be reaching out to Lindsay. So that's perfect. All right. So I don't see any other questions. If you come on a little later and you have a question, go ahead and fire it off. But let me just click through these real quick. I will say, if we can go to our sheriff's website, sign up for the community warning system alerts, download that file, wildfire preparedness and evacuation guide, that would be great. That will help up your preparation. And those actually apply when we're talking about these businesses. There's no reason your business, your school, your daycare shouldn't have one of these on hand. You can also download the FEMA all hazards checklist, and that will be the other guide that we would recommend to keep you prepared. But these guides, they're not specific to an individual. It could be an entity, a business, a school. There's just good, practical, proactive tips to that you can do to be prepared should a disaster happen, or some sort of a low frequency, high risk event, and then what you would do during those events. And some of that can be roped right into your site safety plan for your business or your school. So we think they're very good, and we do recommend those. All right. So that is all we have tonight. So we are 10:10, which means we're off duty, but we're always 10:08 in service to all of you. And in fact, I'm going to run upstairs and go to the Citizens Academy and see Sue. I think she checked in on the chat here. So Sue, I'll see you in a few minutes.